This episode of Aquarium Hobbyist Podcast with Aqua Alex is brought to you by Aquaplenish, the first electronic water change system providing fish keepers with easier water changes. Check them out at www.aquaplenish.com for more info.
You are listening to the Aquarium Hobbyist Podcast with Aqua Alex. On the Aquarium Hobbyist Podcast, any and everything tropical fish and aquariums will be discussed. From freshwater to saltwater, cichlids to clownfish, Aqua Alex has you covered. What tropical fish topic is up for discussion today? Let's find out. Aqua Alex, take it away.
This is the Aqua Alex Aquatic Q&A, Fish Keepers Open Forum, exclusively on Aquarium Hobbyist Podcast. I, Aqua Alex, will proudly and humbly answer all the Aquarius fish keeping questions with my 12 years of knowledge and experience. You can count on a reliable, honest answer, and I will do my best to provide an informative answer. The Aquatic Q&A Fish Keepers Open Forum is brought to you by Little Egypt Aquarium Club, providing citizens of Illinois aquarium meetings and auctions in an online Facebook group for fish keepers all around the world. And it's also presented by Aquaplenish Electronic Water Change System, the world's first electronic water changer that pre-treats and monitors water. Now it's time for me to start answering the Aquarius fish keeping questions. Hello, tropical fish keepers, and welcome to June 2018's edition of Aqua Alex Fish Keepers Q&A Open Forum, here exclusively on Aquarium Hobbyist Podcast. I'm your host, Aqua Alex, coming to you from my fish room in Springfield, Massachusetts. I'm pretty sure you can hear my filters running, so you can rest assured I am broadcasting today's show in my fish room. Now, I am personally looking forward to answering all of your questions. I look forward to seeing what tropical fish topics will be brought up on our show today from all of your questions. I appreciate all the fish keepers out there. I love this hobby, and I hope and pray that in the future, as this show grows, the fish keepers and my audience take advantage of the open forum and send in questions each and every month. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, you can send in questions by email, alexgoyankiescardinelli19@gmail.com, or you can send in a spoken audio question by using the voice recorder on your smartphone, tablet, or computer, and then send the audio file to alexgoyankiescardinelli19@gmail.com. We'll talk about submitting questions for next month's edition later on in the show. I'm going to be answering questions that were sent in to me by email and all questions that were commented on by my Facebook post promoting the Q&A. So basically today I'm going to answer every single question that I got. So here's what's planned for the show today. We're going to begin the Q&A with our opening monthly Q&A segment, Little Egypt Aquarium Club Inquiry, presented by Jeremy Stellhorn. Jeremy asked me some tropical fish keeping questions, and I help promote Little Egypt. And then I'm going to have the Fish Keepers Open Forum, where I answer all of your questions and we learn about different fish topics from your questions. So, what fish topics are we going to learn about today? What's up for discussion on this month's edition of Aqua Alex Fish Keepers Q&A Open Forum? Let's find out, because right now, we're going to get started.
This is the Little Egypt Aquarium Club Inquiry presented by Jeremy Stellhorn. Jeremy will ask Aqua Alex tropical fish questions he wants answers to. These questions and answers may be very beneficial to you. After the show, be sure to log on to Facebook and hit up the search bar. Type in Little Egypt Aquarium Club and hit join. Little Egypt Aquarium Club is a fun laid-back drama-free aquarium hobbyist group where any and every fish keeper is welcomed. See pictures of fish, upcoming club events, and more. Now, onto the inquiry.
Jeremy has sent in some wonderful questions this month, and I'm going to start answering them now. His first question: best way to tell if Craigslist equipment is right for you? Let me first say that purchasing items from Craigslist can save you a lot of money, but it also can be quite a pain in the butt, especially because you really don't know what you're buying. I mean, obviously, you know what the product is, but you don't know what it's been through, how good it actually works, etc. I don't buy much used equipment simply because I have had bad experiences. I have bought used aquariums that sprung leaks and cracked. I've bought filters that did not work or barely worked. The only equipment I personally would buy from Craigslist would be aquarium lights, and I'd be iffy there. It's not all bad though. I am just telling you my experiences. My experiences with buying used aquariums and used aquarium equipment on Craigslist has been bad. But you may have a great experience because every person's experience is going to be different. Every area where a fish keeper lives is going to be different. There will be some aquarists looking to sell good equipment and even good quality tropical fish. My best advice is to go and look at the equipment before you purchase it. Ask to see it work. Ask them to plug it in. That way you know for sure your equipment's going to work and you're getting a good deal. The same goes for buying fish from Craigslist. Ask to see pictures of the fish and then also see them in person, whether it's in the person's house or outside their house with a bucket. Inspect the fish first before you buy it. Make sure there's no illness or any signs of damage to the tropical fish. The next question: how do you know when it's time to change out your LED light for optimal plant growth? Honestly, I don't know jack about aquarium plants, so I am going to refer you to some information I found. But if I had to guess, here is my guess. My first guess to when you need to change out your LED light would be when the LED aquarium light is starting to get dull in color and not as bright as it used to be before. Now, here's my research. It is advisable to use a timer to turn lights on at a set time and off at a set time every day. Consistency is necessary for best plant growth and for fish to develop a regular life cycle. Can you leave lights on 24 hours a day without killing your fish? Yes. Is it advisable or even humane? No. Set the lighting to be on at least 8 hours a day to 12 hours a day is best, depending on the home schedule of the viewers. The community aquarium is there for your viewing enjoyment. Set the light cycle to be on when observers are more apt to be in the room. So in other words, Jeremy, you should create a time cycle for your aquarium. Leave your aquarium light on for 8 to 12 hours a day, and you want those 8 to 12 hours a day to be when people are home and they can enjoy the aquarium. His next question: best caves for catfish and epistogramma. I have found that naturally driftwood is a great cave for most store cichlids and all catfish. I really am a believer in driftwood. You could also use rocks that you find outside, but you're going to have to boil these rocks to remove any harmful thing that might get into your aquarium. And I see we're going to talk about rocks later on in the show. But rocks are good. Any of the aquarium ornaments that they have nowadays at the pet stores are good. But like I said, I like a natural feel, and I recommend using driftwood. If you use a coconut, how long do they last in the aquarium? I just learned something new with this question. I never knew you can have coconut shells in aquariums. I have done some research, and I'm happy to share what I have learned. Adding coconut shells to your aquarium. Remove all the white stuff called meat from inside of the coconut if this has not already been done for you. Boil the coconut before adding it to your aquarium to remove tannins that would otherwise turn your water yellow. Boiling several times with clean water also removes chemicals like pesticides and fertilizer that may contaminate the coconut. I've read on fish forums that people have been using coconut shells for years, so it appears that they don't have a time period. They're just like driftwood. Adding coconut is actually a great idea if you have fish like plecos or herbivore catfish, because they will suck on the coconuts and supplement their diet. In the wild, such fish would munch on wood and decaying bark, things that aren't typically available in the aquarium. Quickest way to cycle an aquarium. Simple. Use media that's already cycled. So that could be from a already established filter. If you're upgrading aquariums, then you're going to want to use your tank water that you have from your old aquarium. So let's say, for example, you have a 55-gallon aquarium and you're upgrading to a 90-gallon aquarium. You're going to want to use the water from your 55-gallon aquarium, and you're also going to want to use your media and everything from your filters from your old tank. But if you're having a brand new aquarium, then what you can do is you can actually buy a bottle of beneficial bacteria called Prime. I would buy Prime, and then I'd ask the local fish store if they could give you some used media, like used filter pads or used charcoal, because that'll help jumpstart your cycle. But if not, Prime will speed up your cycle a little bit. I still would wait a day or two to add tropical fish, but Prime is the way to go. I use Prime to quickly cycle my aquariums, and I haven't had any issues whatsoever. Best advice for having fish together that need different water qualities. This is a good question because I often see a lot of people keeping fish that usually don't belong together. Like, for example, parrot cichlids and severums with African cichlids, and then, of course, community fish with aggressive fish. However, this is a hobby, and people are going to enjoy the hobby however they like it. So if you like mixing Central and South American cichlids with African cichlids, more power to you. But if you're going to keep fish that need different water conditions, you're going to have to slowly acclimate them. And you can do that starting the first day you get them. Now, let's say, for example, you have a fish that requires a pH of 6.8 to 7.4, but you're going to be keeping it in an aquarium that has 8.0 pH. You're going to want to acclimate that fish for about an hour or two, and I personally recommend the drip acclimation for this, because you're getting used to a higher pH they haven't been in before. So, for fish that need different water conditions, it all begins in acclimation, and they need a long, slow acclimation, and that is why I say the drip method is perfect for this. I just did a show on exotic aquatics on acclimation this past Friday, so go check that out. aquariumhobbypodcast.buzzsprout.com, and you'll be able to hear all about acclimation. Driftwood, buy or find your own. Personally speaking, I would buy driftwood from my local fish store because I know that it is 100% safe for my aquarium. Now, if you find driftwood outside, you don't know what has been on the driftwood, you don't know what is in the driftwood, what toxic chemicals are in the driftwood. So, I'm going to say buy your own driftwood at the aquarium store. If I find my own driftwood, what's the best way to make it aquarium safe? I think the best way to possibly make it aquarium safe is to boil the driftwood. Rocks safe to use in your aquarium if you gather your own rocks outside. Well, first, let me talk about rocks to avoid. Rocks to avoid include limestone, which is very high in calcium carbonate. Marble has similar effect as crushed coral. Geodesic, dolomite, which is often found in crushed coral, and crushed coral raises pH. Shells or crushed coral, not ideal for most freshwater tanks, but is used for African cichlid tanks, where higher pH and hardness is desirable. So if you're going to keep Africans, then yes, you can use shells or crushed coral. Safer rocks include granite, quartz, slate, lava rock. But if you're going to use lava rock, take sharp edges into account, particularly with fish that have sensitive barbels, such as Corydoras catfish and other catfish, onks, sandstone, and you should always test before using sandstone. And what do I mean test a rock before adding it to an aquarium? Well, here's what I mean. Testing can be as simple as placing a few drops of vinegar on the rock or gravel you are considering using. If it fizzes or foams, don't use it, as it contains calcium deposits. Another way of testing rocks and gravel is to place them in a bucket of the same water that you use in your aquarium. Test the pH and hardness, and then let it sit for a week and test again. If there is a significant change, the rock or gravel are likely to cause problems. And that is what I mean, test any rock before putting it in your aquarium. And those are all of Jeremy Stillhorn's Little Egypt Aquarium Club questions. Please log on to Facebook and check out Little Egypt Aquarium Club on Facebook groups. I recommend joining that group if you're not a member yet. It's a wonderful group. I'm honored and lucky to be an admin of the group, and I can't wait to see what you post about tropical fish.
Welcome to the Aqua Alex Fish Keepers Open Forum. This is where you take over the show. I answer all of the questions you have submitted. What topics will be brought up from the questions and answers? Find out right now.
Our first question comes from Gary Person via Facebook Messenger. What makes you an expert on fish? Why should anyone tune into your podcast? Well, first and foremost, let me tell you that I am not an expert by any means of the imagination. I never said that I was an expert on tropical fish. I am somebody that has a lot of passion about tropical fish. I've been keeping fish since I was a young boy, and I really enjoy the tropical fish keeping hobby. I'm really passionate about freshwater and saltwater fish. I'm really energetic about the aquarium hobby. I do things my own way. I have an unorthodox way of keeping fish, but I really enjoy the aquarium hobby. I have a lot of fun doing my aquarium shows, talking about what I love, why I love the aquarium hobby, what fish I love and why I love that fish. This is all a hobby to me. It is all fun to me, and I really enjoy it. So I recommend people to tune into my podcast to hear about my experiences with tropical fish keeping, maybe learn a thing or two from my experiences and my limited knowledge, and also have fun in the fish keeping hobby by listening to a passionate 24-year-old fish keeper. And the podcast that I do, my fish keeping podcast, Aquarium Hobbyist Podcast, provides something positive in a world full of negative. This is a positive place for fish keepers to come, listen to tropical fish keeping shows, and have a good time. And hopefully, some of these audience members will come forward, be a part of our show like this one today, be a part of the open forum, and have a lot of fun. Thank you, Gary. That was a great question, and I enjoyed answering it. Our next question comes from Kay Calburn. Will it be okay to add 2 dwarf gouramis to my aquarium with angelfish and betta? It's a 60-gallon fish tank that has panda cories, angelfish, twig catfish, plecos, peacock gudgeons, mystery snails, black neon tetras, ghost catfish, and a betta. First, let me say you have my absolute favorite species of Corydoras. I love the panda Corydoras catfish. I love the twig catfish. I also love angelfish. But yes, you can add 2 dwarf gouramis to your aquarium. I would say that if you are going to add 2 dwarf gouramis, it is highly recommendable that you have 2 separate places for them to hide, because 2 gouramis can fight sometimes. So their fighting is not as bad as cichlids, but they can stress each other out. So if you want to have 2 dwarf gouramis, make sure there's a place for each of them to call their own and establish their own territories and have a place to hide. That way everybody is happy, you're happy, and the gouramis are happy. Now I'm going to give you a little bit of information on the dwarf gourami. Now, the dwarf gourami comes in various forms, such as the powder blue dwarf gourami, the red dwarf gourami, and the neon blue dwarf gourami. It's a peaceful, shy fish to other fish. If in a pair, the 2 fish will swim together. The dwarf gourami has an iridescent shine to its body, more prominent in the male. The male is a vivid orange-red with turquoise blue vertical stripes that continue into the fins. Females are pale, silvery blue-gray with very faint yellowish vertical stripes. Dwarf gouramis require a tank that is 10 gallons or larger. The aquarium should be heavily planted and have at least part of the surface covered with floating plants. A darker substrate will help show off the gourami's colors, and peat filtration is recommended. Regular water changes are a must, as the gourami can be susceptible to disease. They should not be kept with large aggressive fish, but are compatible with other small peaceful fish as well as fellow gouramis. Loud noises often scare them, so the tank should be in a quiet area. The dwarf gourami is a bubble nest builder that uses plants to help bind together the bubbles. Besides the difference in color, the sex can be determined by the dorsal fin. The male's dorsal fin is pointed while the female is rounded. The water level should be reduced to 8 inches during spotting, and the temperature should be approximately 82 degrees Fahrenheit. The dwarf gourami is an omnivore and prefers both algae-based foods as well as meaty foods. An algae-based flake food, along with freeze-dried bloodworms, tubifex, and brine shrimp, will provide these fish with the proper nutrition. And that above information was from Live Aquaria. And I really enjoyed talking about dwarf gouramis. That question comes from Kay Calburn, and it is from the group Fish Tank Enablers on Facebook. So be sure to check out Fish Tank Enablers on Facebook. Our next question comes from Susan Core. When you have a problem tank, and what I mean by problem tank, a lot of deaths keep happening. You think it's cycled. You check your water parameters. You have good filtration on it. You have plenty of live plants. It's not overstocked, but you keep having a dead fish every other day or every other week. What do you do with that problem tank? Do you break it down or what? Thank you. Well, this is a tough question because there could be multiple things going on. Maybe there is a fish disease in your aquarium that you're unaware of. There could be ick that you can't see. There could be velvet. There could be worms, parasites that are causing your fish to die. Or maybe you've added new fish and you haven't quarantined them. Or maybe there is something in your city water that is causing your fish to die. Because sometimes that happens, believe it or not. I recently lost a lot of fish, and it comes to find out my city was working on the tap water, and the tap water was awful here recently. Thank God it's fixed now. But when your city or town, when they mess around with your water, it could have significant consequences to our tropical fish. So what I would do is I would keep an eye on any of the remaining alive fish, see if they're eating, make sure they're active, make sure that they're swimming fine. Just make sure that they look healthy to you. Then the next time you buy new fish, keep them separate in another tank, quarantine them for a good month or so, and then add them back to the aquarium with the live plants. I really don't know much about adding medications to a planted aquarium, so that's why I'm not going to say throw in Prozi Pro or any of the other medicines, because I'm not sure how they'll do with live plants. Like I said earlier, I'm not a live plants person. I've never kept aquarium plants, so I can't go out there and say put some parasitic medicines in there, because it could destroy your plants. But I think quarantining any new fish should be a huge help for you. And her question comes from the group Little Egypt Aquarium Club, one of our favorite Facebook groups here on Aquarium Hobbyist Podcast. Alright, I'm going to take a quick fishmercial, and during this fishmercial, I'm going to have information on how you can enter the July 2018 Fish Keepers Q&A, and also I've got some very important announcements for you during this fishmercial. Coming up next, I've got some more wonderful questions to answer from my buddy David Martin, who is always wonderful to us, and I want to say thank you, David, for entering another Q&A. So, we'll see what Dave has to ask right after this fishmercial. We're back with more next. Wednesday, July 25th, 2018 is going to be our third monthly Aqua Alex Fish Keepers Open Forum question and answer. Fish Keepers, begin submitting your questions now. I will answer any and all tropical emailing alexgoyankeescardinelli19@gmail.com. If you want to have a more personal touch, you can send recorded audio questions. Using the voice recorder on your smartphone, tablet, or computer, simply record your questions and then email the audio file to alexgoyankeescardinelli19@gmail.com. So again, send text questions by emailing alexgoyankeescardinelli19@gmail.com or record audio questions using the voice recorder on your phone, tablet, or computer and send the audio file to alexgoyankeescardinelli19@gmail.com. The deadline to submit your questions is July 22nd, so enter now. July 1st, 2017, I debuted on Buzzsprout. 1 full year later, I am hosting Aquarium Hobbyist Podcast. 1 full year later, Aquarium Hobbyist Podcast is kicking some serious butt. Every year, on July 1st, to celebrate our anniversary, there will be a special, extravagant show packed with guests and more. The name of this show is Aqua Slam. Sunday, July 1st, 2018, come celebrate and have fun. Plan for Aqua Slam 2018. Special guest, confirmed as of June 9th. Our first guest is fish enthusiast and nature artist Sam Garcia Jr., who will be discussing Central American cichlids and other fish topics. Plus, Donovan Barger returns to Aquarium Hobbyist Podcast for the first time in months. Tropical Fish Chat, my thoughts on hybrid fish and affordable indoor goldfish ponds. Plus, music and tropical fish songs and comedy. So see you on July 1st as Aqua Slam debuts. Aquarium Hobby Podcast.buzzsprout.com. We'll see you July 1st for the first ever Aqua Slam. Fish keepers, come celebrate America's Independence Day with the Aquarium Hobbyist Podcast and me, Aqua Alex. Aquarium Hobbyist Podcast has a wonderful 4th of July Aquarium Bash coming your way, featuring a discussion on fish native to the United States of America and tropical fish that resemble the United States of America. Happy 4th of July, everyone. I'll see you on the 4th of July, Fish Keepers, right here on Aquarium Hobbyist Podcast.
USA! USA! USA, you maggot!
It's time for the very first Aquarium Hobbyist Podcast and Aqua Alex contest. This is the summer 2018 Aquarius Battle Royal contest. There will be 2 winners. The first place winner will receive a bed of fish, bed of food, and a bed of setup. The bed of setup will include the bed of fish, bed of food, and a small bed of aquarium. The second place winner will receive a bed of fish and fish food. Here is how to enter the contest. Email alexgoyankeescardinelli19@gmail.com and send an email. Or use the voice recorder on your smartphone, tablet, or computer and send the audio file to alexgoyankeescardinelli19@gmail.com. Tell Aqua Alex Once again, email AlexCarnelli19@gmail.com, or you can also use the voice recorder and speak on your smartphone, tablet, or computer and send the audio file to AlexCarnelli19@gmail.com. Tell me how long you've been keeping tropical fish, how you got into the aquarium hobby, the current fish you're keeping, your favorite fish, and your advice to beginner fish keepers. Deadline for entries is July 10th. Send in your entries now. Come enter and have fun, fish keepers. On July 15th, 2018, Aquarium Hobbyist Podcast will host the Summer 2018 Aquarius Battle Royal, featuring many fish keepers from the past, battling it out to be the fish keeper of Summer 2018. Winners of the Summer 2018 Aquarius Battle Royal Contest will be announced on this special episode. Winners of this contest will be announced on July 15th, right here on Aquarium Hobbyist Podcast. So go enter now, and good luck to every single fish keeper who enters. I hope you win a gorgeous betta of your choosing.
Aquaplenish provides Aquarius with a whole new point of view on water changes. Make your aquarium water changes easier with an Aquaplenish electronic water changer. The innovative Aquaplenish water changer pre-treats water, monitors temperature, and replenishes your aquarium water with a push of a button. It also provides a power boost to your siphon gravel vacuum. 100% pre-treat, monitor, and replenish your aquarium with the push of a button. Pre-treated water provides the best quality water to replenish aquariums. The Aquaplenish water changer is the first retail product that provides an easy solution to pre-treat new aquarium water. For more information, visit www.aquaplenish.com. Purchase one at a special discounted price. Get $20 off an Aquaplenish electronic water change system by using the discount code AquaAlex2018. Aquaplenish.com. Go get yours today.
Our good friend David Morton has some questions for us. His first question, is there a way of aquascaping a saltwater aquarium, say with kelp, seaweed, or different types of macroalgae? Yes, you can aquascape with macroalgae. I don't know much about this, so I'll turn to what I learned on my research. Macroalgae are divided amongst three large groups based on their coloring: green, brown, and red. Green algae contains chlorophyll and are well represented in the tropics. Some of these algae are better at dealing with changing or less than ideal water conditions in environments where nutrients are high. Others can be calcified as well. The green algae are typically better for nutrient removal as they are amongst the faster growing algae type. Brown algae are predominantly color brown, but may range in color from beige to almost black, while some can look almost red. Light and condition will affect the colors displayed. Red algae is the largest group of macroalgae, but seem to be the least understood. They contain large quantities of the pigment phycoerythrin, which can often resemble the pigmentation of brown algae. Red algae are extremely important reef-building organisms, which may form reef crest and large calcareous plates. There can also be a wide range of coloration variation due to the lighting condition. Preferred conditions. Below you'll find some of the most common conditions for a macroalgae aquascape tank and systems that use macroalgae as a refugium. These are general guidelines which might have been modified for some certain macroalgae types. Salinity. Some, like macroalgae, are very tolerant of salinity swings and others are not. Keeping your salinity stable between 1.024 and 1.026 is the general rule of thumb. Closer to natural seawater is always better. Calcium, 350 ppm to 450 ppm, as some macros can consume just as much calcium as most corals. Magnesium, around 11,000 ppm to 12,000 ppm. And of course, ammonia and nitrates, 0. A perfect setup would be to have enough nitrates in your tank for the algae to consume and leave almost no nitrites in the water for other forms of nasty algae. Phosphates. Higher levels of phosphates are ideal. Between 0.5 and 1.0 ppm is typically best. Flow. This can really depend on the specific type of macroalgae. As a general rule of thumb, moderate flow is good. Lighting. Once again, the type of macroalgae determines the lighting that you will need. But as a general rule of thumb, they need moderate lighting levels, say 2 to 3 watts per gallon of 65,000 K to 80,000 K lighting, very similar to freshwater plants that also require moderate lighting levels. pH 7.9 to 8.2 and temperature mid to upper 70s is ideal. Most can handle some temperature swings as well. His next question, as I go down the list here, are under-gravel filters any use anymore, or just throwaway when it comes in a box at a swap or auction meet? I'll say that with technology the way it is today, with all of the great hang-on-the-back filters that are out there, the great canister filters, and the even better sponge filters, yes, I feel that the undergrabber filters are out of date. I think they are not really of use anymore. I still see them for sale at my Petco and my PetSmart and my local fish stores, and I see them for sale for a good reason. People use them to keep their bare bottom aquariums clean during breeding. A lot of breeders will use an undergravel filter to help raise their fry. Whether it's bare bottom, sand, or gravel, they'll use an undergravel filter to help raise fry. I was told that by a friend of mine, so I believe it as well. However, I personally have never ever used an undergravel filter, and probably will never use an undergravel filter, because I like the simplicity of a hang-on-the-back filter and a sponge filter and a canister filter. And his last question, is there any kind of water plant that grows like an ivy climbing decor and filling in like an ivy does on a brick wall of a house? Yes, there is. And it's called a pothose plant. Now, you can put a pothose plant inside your filter, and what a pothose is going to do, it's going to get rid of all of the bad water stuff that we don't want in our water. It's going to get rid of ammonia, it's going to get rid of nitrites and nitrates, and it's going to keep our water nice and clean. So there's a pothose plant that will grow in and around your filter and circle your aquarium. I've seen some very gorgeous aquariums that utilize pothose plants. Go do a check on Google on aquariums with pothose, and I think you're going to like it. Also do a YouTube search, aquariums with pothose. You're going to love it. Well, that's this month's question and answer. I hope I answered everyone's questions to the best of my ability. I hope you enjoyed my answers to your questions, and I hope you'll continue asking me questions. I can't wait to answer your questions in July. So, that brings us to the point of the show where I invite you to ask me questions for my question and answer next month. Now, there's two ways to send questions. You can email me questions at alexgoyankiescardinelli19@gmail.com and send text questions, or you can get personal and get in touch with the show by sending spoken audio questions. Simply use the voice recorder on your smartphone, tablet, or computer and record your questions and send the audio file to alexgoyankiescardinelli19@gmail.com. Start entering now, and I'll promote all along the month of July, but you can start entering your questions now and start submitting them now. With that being said, thank you for joining me for the June 2018 Fish Keepers Q&A. I hope you enjoyed this month's show, and I'll see you in July. Happy fish keeping, everybody, and have a great week. Goodbye, everyone. Wednesday, July 25th, 2018 is going to be our third monthly Aqua Alex Fish Keepers Open Forum question and answer. Fish Keepers, begin submitting your questions now. I will answer any and all tropical fish, freshwater and saltwater questions. You can submit text questions by emailing alexgoyankiescardinelli19@gmail.com. If you want to have a more personal touch, you can send recorded audio questions. Using the voice recorder on your smartphone, tablet, or computer, simply record your questions and then email the audio file to alexgoyankiescardinelli19@gmail.com. So again, send text questions by emailing alexgoyankiescardinelli19@gmail.com or record audio questions using the voice recorder on your phone, tablet, or computer and send the audio file to alexgoyankiescardinelli19@gmail.com. The deadline to submit your questions is July 22nd, so enter now.
You have been listening to Aqua Alex on the Aquarium Hobbyist Podcast. Come swimming back to the next episode for more tropical fish chat and information on keeping your fish happy and healthy. Check out Aqua Alex on the following social media platforms: Facebook under the name Alex Cardinelli, Twitter at Alex Cardinelli1, YouTube channel Exotic Monster Fish Keeper 1993, and Instagram The Real Alex Cardinelli.